so it works. So.
Locked it up at 55?
Yeah. What's up and welcome back to the S10 Life YouTube channel. Got a lot going on with the Sin10 here. Not going to talk about that right now, but I am going to talk about this handbrake. This handbrake was only $100 after shipping and tax. Real simple handbrake. It's not aluminum. I will put the link in the description. I got it off of Drift HQ. It was like the cheapest one on there. I didn't need anything too fancy. It doesn't have a Willwood master cylinder or anything like that, but I bought it from Drift HQ because, well, I was afraid I was gonna get on Amazon or eBay and end up with a junk one. I thought, well, if they allow this on their website, surely it works. So here we are. And it's got a steel bracket down here, steel rod, foam grip. These did not come with it. It did come with this fitting. And this is just a supply line fitting. It was right here. But what I'm going to do is run this in line with my brake system. And from what I understand from researching on YouTube, I can run this in line by cutting into my rear brake line here, run it into my cab, into this one, come out of it right here, go back into where I cut, and run it onto my normal brakes. And what that will allow me to do is when I press my foot brake and I'm just casually driving, my rear brake should work like normal. But when I pull my handbrake, it should trap all the fluid on this side of the handbrake, compress it, and work like a normal hydraulic handbrake. So the first thing I'm going to do is try and find a position that feels comfortable. Sorry for the mess, but I've got this about how I'd like it to be mounted. Master cylinder needs to be on this side because I'm going to run my lines out the back of the cab there. The transmission is in reverse right there, which should be its closest position to it. That's a full arm length extension away. Feels good. I need it in such a way where it clears the seat and the shifter there. I think that's gonna work, but I'm gonna mount it with 1 or 2 bolts, see how it looks. Don't have anything very good to mark the carpet with, and I'm not going to pull the carpet out, so I just got like a paint marker. I'm going to use a flashlight of the camera to get in there on. Going to use a 5/16 drill bit to punch the holes in there. Got it mounted in here. Just used some junk hardware that I had laying around. I had to space that out because the transmission tunnel started to curve over. So I put a couple spacers in there. This is my rear brake line. There's only one that goes back there to feed the rear brakes. It has been spliced into right here before. I'm gonna take this splice apart and connect my new line that's gonna run into my cabin to it. I've got my line cut. Now I need to bend the end of it with this tube bender to get an acute angle for that. Needs a little bit more. I think that's the one. I have it mocked up in there. It's ran out the back. And now I'm going to mark it so I know where to bend it. And then I gotta take it back out and bend it. I've got this brake line facing towards this brake line that I just installed. Now I've got them matched up. I'm gonna cut it and splice them together. I've got the lines cut, and now I'm gonna splice them together with this solid brass compression fitting for 1/4-inch tubes. All right, there it is. This line is completely installed. I did get some tape on there. Almost kinked to the line. Now I'm gonna make another one with an obtuse angle. Got the second line in there. It ended up being awfully close to the seat. It was even touching it a while ago, but I added this extra little bend right there at the bottom of it to try and pull it over some. I really needed to put 90s or 45s right here. That would have been a lot better option to do. I can always redo that later. Tight, but not too tight. All the lines are hooked up now. I've got the brake lines figured out on my rear end. Now I'm gonna tighten everything down, fill it with fluid, and bleed the brakes. Let's top the reservoir off so that we don't suck any air down in there. Old school reservoir, you gotta take the gasket out and everything. It's not out yet, but I just wanted to top it off. Got the bleeding crew here with me. We are now bleeding the brakes on this. So far, so good. All right, Mom, start pumping the brakes. Where's that wrench you had a second ago?
I don't know.
See if I can find it. You can set it up here.
You wanna go see my mother? Okay, you can see my brother. My brother. Look how cute he is, Mom. I showed him my brother.
Got it held down. Ready, Evers?
Yep.
Here we go.
Is it drizzling?
Yeah. Now pull the handbrake fast, Mom.
Woo! See that, guys?
That's more like it.
Yep.
So the brake caliper was locked up after I got done bleeding the hydro brake, so I got a new one, and they sold me the wrong side. The bleeder is on the bottom down here on the one they sold me, and I needed it to be on the top. And we cannot get it to bleed, and we think that's why. So Bryce is unbolting the bracket, and he's gonna spin it on the axle until the bleeder is facing the ceiling, best he can. And then I'm going to try and bleed it now. Bled it one time, and immediately after, how's it feel?
So fucking good.
I guarantee it. Guarantee it. Let's go. Now Nolan is going to mock up the sway bar so I can fabricate mounts to put that in because stable drifts. The ZQ8 sway bar is mounted. Did not have ZQ8 mount, so just kind of threw some angle iron on there for now. Not the thickest, but it should do for now. We got everything back together now. The truck's running. I haven't tested the handbrake other than just pulling on it, but it stopped. But now I'm going to put it in gear, spin it a little bit, and yank it and see what happens. So I'm on 66% of the tire that I was on. And last night it was raining and it was just so hard to drive safely. first gear would not pause out. It was too slow of an RPM in the rear end for the true track to lock together. It was trying to, it was coming in and out. So I threw it in second gear and that sucker locked solid. Felt great. All right, we made it.
Yes, sir.
Didn't get arrested. Spun plenty of tire. That was great.
Good out there. Yeah, the front needs that sway bar on there, and I think it would get rid of a lot of this.
Yeah, you can see it.
The back seems so much stiffer than the front.
Awesome.
I had to prime it with the foot pedal and then grab it, so. It is kind of weird. It's like it doesn't have enough fluid when I just grab the handle. It's like I gotta hit the brake to give it some fluid and then pull the handbrake too. So I got to do some experimenting with that, playing around more. But I locked it up at 55 on my way here a while ago, so it works. So.
Locked it up at 55?
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely works. Tires. These are just really simple plain tread tires. And I had switched from Corvette tires, which was 305 sport tread. So these are plain tread and they're really low traction, which is great for what we're gonna do. So just gonna go enjoy the truck some more. I'm gonna put the registration tag on there so that I'm legal. While this thing's warming up, I will show you the handbrake. This is plumbed to be inline. So that means when I hit my foot pedal, it affects my handbrake. Serious drifters wouldn't have a drift set up like that, but that was the easiest way to do it without having to run dual calipers. So that was pretty much $100 for me to install that, parts and everything. So if I would have did dual calipers, I would have had to have 4 calipers on them. Hey, I forgot about that. Yeah, I smashed my finger the other day down at the farm. Anyways, this inline handbrake prevents me from having to run a dual caliper handbrake, especially saving me from having to spend all that money while I'm still learning. I shouldn't need it, especially since I'm not going to any drift events. I'm just going to be doing skids here and there. So let's see if we can get a couple on film. One thing to note about my truck is I'm running the factory fuel tank. So that means I don't have any special baffle or sump or anything in there to keep fuel while I'm mid-drift and sloshing the tank. So I haven't done a whole lot of drifting, just a skid here and there, so I haven't exactly ran out of fuel drifting. So I'm just going to try and keep a half a tank or more in there until I get a fuel cell. That was just a little baby skid. Alright, that was one of my very few right-hand drifts. I guess you call that a drift. Kicked it out a little bit, but it was one of my first ones. I usually drift turning to the left, sliding in a counterclockwise rotation. I don't know why that is. See, that was a left-hand turn. It felt a lot better. Although I'm not used to the steering, you see how much I overcorrected? I usually don't do that with the manual steering. I'm just not used to how easy it turns, you know? I have not practiced doing a whole lot of fishtailing yet. Not yet. There's one thing I really need to get good at is like crossing over from sliding to the left to sliding to the right. We'll get there. No shit, there is a horse up here in the road. Welcome to the backwoods of Kentucky skin. Watch out for the Amish around here.
My first e-brake grip entry, and I didn't clutch dump it hard enough because it opened diff. My RPM was too low. You live and learn. I will note that I have felt the e-brake locking one wheel and not the other, but I'm pretty sure that is because I don't have enough G-forces going into the initiation of it, and it's only locking up one tire at a time. Or maybe it is locking up both and it's pulling straight instead of sliding sideways. We'll have to find out with more experimenting. Touched the ditch and it was awful, but I did it. All right, I'm going home now. I'm going to try and edit this video. Hopefully the camera doesn't mess this SD card up.